At the onset of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the global consensus was that Ukraine's defeat seemed inevitable. Yet, recent military developments have dramatically altered this narrative, revealing that Ukraine has gained a significant advantage. Ukrainian forces have implemented strategic military tactics, such as demolishing key bridges, which have effectively trapped Russian soldiers. The unfolding situation underscores a vital lesson from this conflict. Overwhelming numbers and advanced equipment do not guarantee success in warfare. On August 20, 2024, the world was greeted with astonishing news. Ukrainian forces had successfully encircled Russian troops in the strategic K region, with approximately 3,000 Russian soldiers stranded on the southern bank of a river within Russia's KK Oblast. Ukrainian forces had methodically destroyed critical bridges, severing the Russian army's access to reinforcements and supplies. This stunning development, which was inconceivable 2 years ago, has reshaped the military dynamics of the conflict. This encirclement resulted from a series of meticulously planned operations executed by Ukraine's military. Over several days, coordinated strikes by Ukraine's army and air force disabled 3 key bridges, disrupting vital Russian supply lines. In response, Russian engineers attempted to construct pontoon bridges to restore the flow of supplies. However, Ukrainian forces anticipated this move, launching a multifaceted counteroffensive. Employing explosive drones equipped with first-person view (FPV) capabilities, Ukrainian forces targeted and destroyed convoys carrying pontoon bridge sections. Simultaneously, Ukrainian rocket artillery and FPV drones attacked boats and pontoons already deployed in the water, severely impeding Russia's efforts to reinforce its stranded troops. Reports from sources familiar with the situation indicate that Russian forces in the region were highly demoralized, further diminishing their combat effectiveness. Ukrainian troops, advancing eastward from the K region, systematically pushed towards the Russian positions with the clear objective of trapping the Russian soldiers. While some analysts initially believed that Russian forces might be able to mount a credible defense, experts like Julian Ripka, an open-source intelligence analyst, highlighted that although the western portion of K could potentially be fortified, Russian forces would face insurmountable challenges in defending themselves from a Ukrainian assault originating from the east. The Russians were left with only 2 unenviable choices: to either defend their positions at the cost of severe casualties or retreat, abandoning their vehicles and equipment in the process. In either case, retreating Russian forces would become highly vulnerable to Ukrainian air, artillery, and drone strikes. Ukraine's forces had already made significant territorial gains, having advanced into Russian territory in the west and securing control of 15 square kilometers of land up to the river. In response to these advances, Russia began assembling new battle groups to counter Ukraine's offensive, particularly in the KK region. However, Ukraine's success was not limited to this theater of operations. Ukrainian forces also conducted successful cross-border raids into Russia's Bryansk and Belgorod regions, sending a clear message to Moscow that Ukraine's military campaign could not be ignored. The formation of new Russian military units was initially limited to operations within Ukrainian territory, where the primary battles were taking place. However, as Ukrainian advances persisted, the need for additional Russian military reinforcements became more urgent. Russia established a coordination council, chaired by Defense Minister Andrei Belov, to oversee military security along the border and the deployment of new army groups. Despite these developments, Russian President Vladimir Putin remained largely unfazed and set a deadline of October 1st for Russian forces to recapture the KK region. Although Russian troops suffered significant losses in KK, they continued to hold key positions in the Donbass region. President Putin further directed Russian forces to maintain their offensive in the PUV and Tet regions, while Ukraine pressed deeper into Russian-held territory. The rationale behind Ukraine's push into enemy territory was revealed by President Volodymyr Zelensky, who confirmed that Ukraine's primary objective was to liberate Ukrainian citizens held in captivity by Russia. Mariana Bazula, a member of Ukraine's National Security Defense and Intelligence Committee, criticized the government for leaving Donetsk Oblast vulnerable, particularly as Russian forces moved closer to Pov and Toretsk. Speculation also arose about Ukraine's strategic intentions, with some commentators, such as the writer Boris Rowan, suggesting that Ukraine was preparing to launch a strike on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which had been under Russian control for some time. Although Ukrainian officials denied any plans to seize the plant, Russian forces began fortifying their positions by digging trenches in the area. Ukraine's successful destruction of key bridges in the KK region effectively blocked any direct Russian advance into the territory. Although Ukraine could theoretically cross the border, air travel posed significant risks due to Ukrainian control of the skies over KK. Ukrainian forces had employed surface-to-air missiles and FPV drones in aerial combat, enabling them to down several Russian helicopters since launching their offensive in the region on August 6, 2024. Ukraine's ability to sustain this military campaign, particularly against a far larger adversary like Russia, raises important questions. How has Ukraine managed to withstand Russian military power for over 2 years? Did Ukraine always possess the firepower and resources necessary to challenge Russia? The answer lies in the combination of Western-supplied weaponry and Ukraine's tactical use of captured Russian equipment. Footage from the invasion of KK reveals the deployment of advanced weaponry by Ukrainian forces. In one notable instance, a Ukrainian MiG-29 fighter jet was filmed deploying a French-made AASM-250 Hammer precision-guided bomb. Ukrainian FPV drones played a crucial role in halting Russian bridging units, targeting pontoon sections before they could be assembled. Furthermore, Ukrainian forces utilized American-made HIMARS rocket systems, which scattered grenade bombs over Russian pontoon bridges, inflicting substantial damage. Ukrainian airborne assault units released footage of a German-donated Marder infantry fighting vehicle, operated by the 95th Air Assault Brigade, engaging Russian positions in the village of Mala, illustrating the tactical support Ukraine received from its Western allies. In addition to Western-supplied weaponry, Ukraine's military has effectively captured and repurposed Russian equipment, including a T-90M tank near the city of Snag. While possessing advanced weaponry is vital, the effectiveness of these resources depends on their tactical deployment. Ukraine's elite units, such as the 80th Air Assault Brigade, played a pivotal role in the events of August 20, 2024. In the days preceding the operation, social media footage captured armored convoys, including T-64BV and T-80BV tanks, UR-77 mine-clearing vehicles, and other armored personnel carriers, advancing towards Russian positions. The 80th Brigade, along with the 82nd Brigade, utilized Marder and Stryker vehicles to execute rapid, high-intensity assaults, demonstrating Ukraine's strategic shift towards fast-moving, well-coordinated offensives. Despite Ukraine's battlefield successes, President Zelensky expressed frustration with the international community's reluctance to confront Russian threats more assertively. He argued that if Ukraine's Western allies allowed the use of long-range weaponry within Russian territory, the dynamics of the war would shift dramatically, potentially obviating the need for Ukraine to physically enter Russian-held territories like KK. While Ukraine has received substantial military aid from its allies, the support came with restrictions. Among the most significant of these was the limitation on the use of long-range weapons. Ukraine could only deploy these within its own borders, not inside Russia. President Zelensky's concerns reflect a broader geopolitical reality. The course of the war could shift dramatically if Ukraine were permitted to strike targets within Russian territory. This concern extends beyond Ukraine to other European Union member states. At NATO's 75th anniversary summit, the United States announced its intention to periodically deploy long-range missiles in Germany, a move that has drawn criticism from German political figures, particularly within the Green Party, due to the potential consequences of launching missiles from German soil. The deployment of long-range missiles by NATO allies underscores the global ramifications of this conflict. As the war between Ukraine and Russia continues to evolve, its impact extends far beyond the borders of the two nations, influencing security policies and strategic decisions on a global scale.